Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to the adventures of Marcus Wolfhart here in The Hunter and the Beast. I've gotten us back to the beginning of turn 2. I just did the exact same thing on turn 1 that we did last game, except that I was a little bit more careful to protect our huntsmen. I think these guys are really important in our early game. They're one of the few units we have that is actually good at shooting at sauruses and dinosaurs, so we're going to make more of an effort to keep them alive here. And this right here is the moment where we attacked Chotek last time. Now, I wanted to move on Chotek quickly because I didn't want them to generate a new army, and then, you know, we're recruiting to try to outsize them, but they're recruiting to try to keep up with us, and it just turns into a whole thing. But I think we can afford to sit for one more turn, so let's go into replenishment mode, get a little bit more healing on our melee units, and pull in some more guys here. I don't think we want to be sitting here for 2 turns. They only have 6 units in their garrison. If we get up to 13, that's got to be enough of an advantage, right? So we're going to have 2 full health units of swords, 2 units at about half, and a unit of spears at about half. We could probably focus on ranged units a little bit more here. I guess let's get another unit of spears, because we know that we're going to have to deal with some cavalry. And then, beyond that, archers? Let's see, these guys have... Okay, their armor-piercing missile damage is not any better than the archers. Let's just grab archers, because we have the nice upkeep reduction on them. And then, hopefully, this will be enough to knock Chotek out, and I'm hoping that they don't have enough time to put together a new army here. This is going to be a lot like the last game, except more successful. And we know that a force of this particular faction of Lizardmen is going to approach us from the south. We need to be back in position to play defense by the time that happens, so we really don't have any more time to screw around here. This is probably the critical turn for moving. I'm confident, though. We were actually pretty close to winning this fight with the smaller number of troops we used last time. I think us winning that first battle and bringing down a dinosaur early on and everything got me a little bit overconfident. Wolfhart, there are potential recruits here that might serve alongside our forces. Go get cool hunters. We will totally do that.
Marcus Wolfhart. All right.
Alright, and they didn't even bother to start recruiting a new army yet, so probably we can do this. God, I hope we can do this. I'm going to be very frustrated if we manage to screw this up again. I say we, if we manage to screw this up, so that it doesn't sound like it's entirely my fault. So none of our ranged units, except for the Huntsman and Marcus, really do much damage to the Sauruses with their 60 armor. The Cold Ones also have a little bit. I think they're around 40. We'll have to wait until the battle finishes loading in to look at their stat card. But getting these guys under control early is probably the most important thing. This is the thing that we did not actually quite get done last time, and I think we paid the price for it pretty severely. Since we know that they're just going to run at us, maybe we start even further back. Rather than trying to take this this tiny little bit of raised ground. I'm always a little leery of allowing opponents to approach from behind raised ground, because it can sometimes screw with your line of fire. That's less true when your troops have bows than it is when they have guns, so I probably don't need to be so worried about it. Let's play back a little bit further. So we're gonna go just a big wide formation of archers here. The huntsman as protected as possible in the middle. Spears in front of them. There's not really any reason that we need to keep our melee units behind and do the run through. There are good reasons to start with your melee units back, but that is mostly a thing you need to do when the enemy has reasonable ranged. But right now, I think we can just play them back here, and then the injured units can go back here. Be ready to absorb a charge. Alright, I'm feeling better about that already. And then the question is, how far forward do we want to start with these units? They're fast enough to potentially be able to run away from everything except the cold ones. I think I'm going to start with them pretty far up. Let's try to get maximum firing time in on the enemies. So, how much armor do cold ones have? I do not remember. 90. 90, and they have shields. They're actually incredibly good against ranged fire. Actually, just a nightmare unit as far as our force composition goes. That said, we're still gonna try to start this off with them. And of course, bleed the enemies for as much health as possible as they come in. No, don't. Sorry, don't run forward. Just shoot at these guys. I was trying to let the war wagons serve as a stop there to prevent the cold ones from running in too far. Let's have the normal archers focus up on these skink cohorts. Okay, well, we didn't actually lose any war wagons there, so that's okay. Not 100% the way we would want that to go, but it's not terrible. Alright, this unit of sources is just going to make contact. There's not a ton we can do about it. They're continuing to rain arrows down on the cold ones. I mean, we're getting the job done a little bit better this time. Alright, let's execute a bit of a flank here. Where am I? Yeah, my militia should also be shooting at these guys. Okay, I mean, we're getting something done here. As soon as we run off the cold ones... Actually, yeah, come at this from a little bit further away. Alright, we're going to have the Free Company find a good flanking angle here. I would love to just finish off those cold ones, but we probably should not have our units commit to that chase. So we have some important enemies yet to kill here. It's interesting that they frenzied while they were retreating. Usually they frenzy in response to, like, actual damage. Is that the best you guys can do as far as engaging goes? Maybe like a couple more of you could engage in the actual combat. Let's keep working on these units of skinks. Alright, looks like we have permanently broken them. You see the flag with the skull there. It means they will not be coming back. Alright, I think we need to get the war wagons out on the flank here. Yeah, it's remarkable how much better this battle is going. Should get Marcus out here as well. Okay, we are losing this front. Let's have the archers just kind of generally fall back. Alright, our melee troops are no match for Sauruses, just like straight up, we cannot possibly win that fight, but if you shoot the Sauruses in the back with enough guns, eventually you can make up the difference in your unit capabilities. Alright, what a difference a couple of extra units makes, huh? Also, like, functional strategy. Functional strategy is good. Alright, so any defending force in a settlement when you win a settlement battle is, of course, completely annihilated, so that's good for us. That will complete our first province, which is a big deal in terms of setting up our economy. We also managed to get a level on our huntsman and on our war wagon. The army that comes up from the south, we're expecting it to be pretty large. I'm hoping that this force combined with the reinforcements that we pull from our imperial supplies should be able to repel them, and then if we manage to break that army, that's probably this faction's entire military, right? So we'll be able to just push south and try to take their capital right afterward. That'll give us a nice economic base. Province Plus is a pretty okay place to start, especially if the plus is a major settlement.
Another trophy for the Hunts Marshal.
Alright, so we can merely occupy it, or we can do some looting and get ourselves some gold as well. I don't really think that we're all that desperate for gold right now. The more we loot and sack as we come in, the more public order we will reduce here. We don't want this place to get too sad. We're going to have a hard time maintaining our public order for a while already. Alright, so we have captured and occupied a settlement belonging to that faction. Our hostility has increased. Imperial supplies will be dispatched more quickly. And now, Barry Drury would like us to maintain control of 2 provinces by direct ownership or through vassals and military allies. Surprise, it's going to be through violence. Oh, you know what? I'm pretty sure that I did not establish a trade agreement with the New World colonies yet this game. Oh, interesting. They're not even interested in doing that. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter too much. It really is a very small amount of gold. I guess they're only willing to go for it on turn 1. I think we're going to make the same choice with Marcus that we made last time. Just pursue that red line a little bit. So that first skill point we're taking just increases the amount of leadership that other units get from his aura. Ordinarily, it's 5, so he's now giving 10. We did also get a pretty nice piece of loot from the first battle. Ward save is just a flat damage reduction against all types of damage. So this is a pretty nice piece of armor. It's a little bit better for melee heroes, I think, just because they end up taking a lot more damage. We might swap that off to our first melee character. But on the whole, this is going pretty well. So we've got our first commandment to issue. We can lower recruitment cost and increase the number of units that can be pulled in through local recruitment. Increase our growth and income from trade. Honestly, it might be worth taking this just for the growth bonus. Tax rate up, you can see here, this is the amount of money we are earning from taxes every turn. If we turn off taxation on the province, it does give us a public order boost, but it's pretty small, and while we're not starved for gold, I'm leery of dropping our total income by like 30%. That seems like an unwise move. And of course, we could just have a great big festag, and everybody's too drunk to be unhappy, because that's how that works. I think we're going to take the growth bonus for right now. I really think it's important, especially in the early game, to get your settlements built up as quickly as possible here. Alright, and then while we are in the settlement, we get a lot, you get a vastly increased amount of unit replenishment, and you can recruit. I'm not really sure what we want to take on here. We could certainly use some more ranged units, but the ranged units we have available are kind of crummy. I'm wondering if we might be better off. We can get bad ranged units or like pretty okay melee units, but we really don't need more melee. I guess let's get some more archers. They're not amazing, but neither are crossbowmen. And that'll put us in a place where the Imperial supplies will just about fill our army up. For the moment, we're holding out alright on money. 1,300 income is bad, but we're also not spending very much. Ooh, we have pirates coming in off the water and attacking the Norskins up here. That might buy some extra time for the New World colonies. Although if they want my defense, they really should consent to trade with me, given that it is, 100% mutually beneficial. Okay, let's see here. Destroy the following faction within 12 turns to get another 500 gold. It seems like we're just, we're never really going to be rolling in money, huh? Alright, this is the last settlement of this faction. If we were to take their capital, we would wipe them out completely. If we wanted to complete this as a province, we'd have to take all 3 of these settlements, which would get us into a war with those orcs, but that's going to happen no matter what we do. Orcs are not known for their love of peace. I think let's just go ahead and march over here. In fact, I am gonna I'm gonna put us all the way into march mode, and we're gonna end up in the temple so that we can take advantage of that higher replenishment rate. And we're not, I think, going to recruit anything else because I don't really know what we're going to get from the Imperial supplies. It's possible that you do not always get the same 4 options. So yeah, let's just leave room in the army for now. I'm not sure if we'll actually see that army of Lizardmen come up from the south this turn. They were moving up to support the army that was pushing west from Chotek. Without that army to support, they may just stay back and play defense, which would definitely be unfortunate for us, because we are not in a place where we can handle a real army and also a city's garrison at the same time. But we might be able to engage in a little bit of skullduggery to deal with them.
I am the Hunts Marshal.
Okay, so our reinforcement choices here... Okay, these are exactly the same. So I think the real question is Great Cannon and a unit of Grenade Launcher Outriders versus even more War Wagons. I gotta be honest with you, I think the War Wagons are pretty cool, and I really want to see a War Wagon with a mortar in action. Mortars, you generally think of them as, you know, long-range indirect fire weapons. It would be kind of weird to put one on a chariot, so that's good enough reason, in my opinion, to figure out exactly what they do. Ensure that you have built a coastal town. If we are to survive on this continent, we must have a solid base of operations to build upon. Improve our defenses and expand our colony's capacity. Okay. Also, research a technology. Well, we're very close to getting our first one of those done. And Marcus Wolfhart has attracted a scribe, who increases the campaign movement range of that army, which is just fantastic. Actually, wow, Marcus Wolfhart is attracting all kinds of followers. And also he's got enough XP for a level. So we can increase the size of his leadership aura. That seems like very not great. So you can see here, these skills are all boxed up together. In order to move further on in this particular skill line, we need to spend 6 skill points in the distributed over the boxed skills here. So this one is all about your basic melee troops. Here we have our knights. There's ammunition and missile damage up for all of our archers and gunners. This is probably the skill that we will be pursuing, because obviously we're very reliant on our archers here. This is really big fancy units. This, of course, will be your siege type guys. Actually, no, this is non-siege unit war machines. So the war wagon and the tank. Yeah, we're eventually going to get access to tanks. They are every bit as good as you might think. And this here is the more standard siege weaponry. Yeah, let's take damage boost for all of our ranged units.
Only the dedicated.
Alright, so we recruit our war wagons through this thing. And then we do have 2 slots left. I think we should probably head toward the enemy here. So many of the stances you can switch an army into require you to have some amount of campaign movement remaining. You can see this requires 50% of our move be unspent. So you can see here the bar indicates how much we have moved. Let's get as far forward as we can while maintaining at least 50% so that we can... For some reason, we can't do that. This character does not have enough movement range. Oh, because we're in March mode. Yeah. In our actual normal movement range, I have gone too far. I forgot that we were in March. Well, that's not a big deal. We'll just go into ambush mode instead. Nah, we'll just stand here. Because I believe you cannot recruit in ambush mode. Nope, that's not true. Okay. Let's just grab a couple more ranged units. I'm going to get another free company, maybe? Now, you know what? Normal archers are about as fast as free company. We'll just grab 2 more units of normal garbage archers. So, that's right. Recruiting puts you into the mustering stance and takes you out of ambush anyway. If we were to sit in ambush stance, it would make our army invisible to other armies on the world map, but then anybody who got within a certain distance of us would make a dice roll behind the scenes to see if they discover our army. Fortunately, Marcus has a massive bonus to the success chance of your ambushes, so we are unlikely to get found out. Okay, a coastal town, which is the building that we have a quest to build, is just the level 3 version of the main settlement structure. I think what we're going to do here is go ahead and upgrade this minor settlement to a level 2, so that we can get access to this build slot. You can see here we have a resource, very fertile pastures. Sorry, very fertile pastures, so we can boost the growth of this place significantly if we can just get room to build the pasture building. Did that say 34 turns on our supply marker? I believe we are 34 turns from our next Empire drop. That is a real shame. I mean, we have basic recruitment structures here, but we need to learn to build better units. Oh, interesting. They have multiple stacks of guys. They are really just coming at us with everything. The good news is, these armies are composed almost entirely of skinks. Red-crested skinks are actually pretty dangerous in melee combat, but they're not very well armored and they don't have shields or anything. We might be able to win this fight just by running away from them, just refusing to engage in melee. They are faster than we are, though. Alternately, we can fall back and hope that they won't have the range to pursue us.
We cannot
I think
win.
let's try that. Let's fall back because I'd really like to try to catch them in an ambush. I don't want to fight their superior numbers. Oh, interesting. One of their armies backed off, but the other one didn't. Now that they're separated, we can try to attack this one stack here. That might work out pretty well for us. They might just fall back the same way we did. If they do, that's not necessarily the end of that plan. We'll see where they fall back to exactly. An expedition into these ancient ruins may yet yield great treasures. Any artifacts found could fund our endeavors in the New World. So if we search a ruined settlement, we'll get some money. That's not a thing we're super likely to do. And we finished our first technology. I gotta be honest with you. I'm thinking that, Imperial reinforcements seems pretty great, as does Colonial Fort. Public order and casualty replenishment, both really important. Yeah, let's go Hunter's Guild into Colonial Fort. I really want that. That's a huge replenishment rate boost.
Marcus Wolfhart, fell the cretins.
I assume these guys are just going to fall back. No, they want to fight.
Shall be a warning.
Well, you got to give them points for audacity. They are pretty badly outnumbered here, and their units are mostly quite bad. These skinks do have shields, so I guess they have that going for them at least. They do have a unit of Propersaurus guys. They also have a skink chief hero, along with their red-crested skink lord. Honestly, we are just going to shoot these guys to pieces, I'm pretty sure. I'm very curious to see how they fare against the mortar, because these skink units are, they're numerous and they're tightly packed, so I would imagine explosives are going to be pretty effective here. So they are... Let's have a quick look at the stats of their units here. Swarplot, which is a terrible name. This guy hits really hard in melee. He's got... It's annoying. There we go. It's because I keep mousing over the other units here. He's got poison attacks. Poison doesn't do any damage in Total War Warhammer. It's just a debuff, but it's a pretty significant debuff. So we really, really want to avoid letting this guy into melee with our troops. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to keep him from catching anybody. Probably some unit of swordsmen is going to get totally hacked to pieces. They put the unit of... Where's that unit of Sauruses? Okay, it's right over here. So I think we want to maybe play off to this side, just have those Sauruses be as far as possible from... Ooh, we have this nice cliff. And we know they're just going to run at us, so maybe we take advantage of this very nice cliff here. What is the range on the mortar? Okay, considerable. The answer to that question is considerable. Look at that. We might want to start it a little bit further forward. I think I probably want it to be the case that we can fire on at least one of their units immediately, but I also really do want to take advantage of this cliff. I guess these guys can Vanguard deploy, right? We can just put them a little further forward and let the war wagons have the space right up against the line. Although that's a pretty bad angle of deployment. The game is super finicky with your units being too close to the line. You can see they're definitely not even actually touching it here, but that's invalid, which is annoying. Okay, we'll be able to launch attacks right away. And then the rest of our war wagons right here, we'll just do that same thing that we did last time where we have them run forward and harass. These enemies do have blow dart skinks, so they have a little bit more ranged power, but it's still pretty bad. And just a big ball of archers up here on the cliff. We'll figure out exactly where they need to go later. I'm going to put all our melee troops here, and we'll move them up to the bottleneck as soon as the battle starts. Alright, I'm feeling okay about this. So let's just issue our initial orders. They don't have anything large, so the spears are not going to be dealing particularly great damage. So it sort of doesn't matter how we set this up. I think we should probably just put people like that. We have to expect that some of them are going to maybe try to flank around here. You know what? We'll deal with that if it happens. Should probably have had him set a little bit further forward. And with that, let's get on it. I think I'm actually going to have Marcus open up with a focus shot. It's not going to do a ton of damage against these enemies that are at full health, but the cooldown on it is long enough that if we don't do one right at the beginning of battle, we're unlikely to get all three of them used anyway. See, the mortars are starting to fall. Yeah, you know what? That's still actually pretty good damage.
No lingering! Move in now!
Let's have the mortars try to aim for the, first of all, the most dangerous units, and secondly, the thickest part of the enemy formation. Problem with mortars is they have pretty poor accuracy in general.
Sir! No lingering! To battle! Yes, General!
Looks like some of the enemies are content to just chase the war wagons.
Taking position! This way!
Marcus, obviously, is in no danger from these skinks. The blowguns, I can't imagine, are going to do too much to the war wagons. We do need to keep them away from the enemy melee, obviously.
My comrades! Go! Equipped! On it! Sir!
This is actually great. If we can keep a
Take the ground!
handful of their units just doing this like wild goose chase over here, that's fantastic. You can see the Saurus spears are having a tough time with all these mortars. We don't have a ton of units that are good against things as tough as Sauruses, so this is nice. Alright, their skink chief is just hanging back and shooting missiles at us. That's fine. Probably we should try to move up a little bit here. What I'd really like to do is get a bit of a wraparound going on some of these enemy ground units, and then let's have the archers focus in on ridding us of these skink units back here. These three groups of archers hit those guys. You huntsmen probably, honestly, work the Sauruses. The worst thing that could happen to us at this point is those Sauruses actually getting into melee while they're still pretty strong. It looks like we can split... Just trying to tell you to move over here. We can split these guys apart.
Outriders! Sigmar calls! Yes, my lord!
I really appreciate the Sauruses actually not running for,
Take the ground!
not just running into combat right away, because that could have been really awkward for us.
Move in now! To battle!
Alright, this will panic the skinks a little bit.
Swordsman!
I'm going to have all of these guys go into guard mode, which means they should not do the thing that they're currently doing right now. What guard mode is supposed to do is make your units not run forward to attack enemies. Hey guys, stop. Stop running forward. Yeah, guard mode is supposed to just pin them in place, prevent them from chasing. Apparently not doing a great job.
Free company! Yes, sir. Watch your back.
Free company, get down here. Have Marcus try to get a little bit of a higher angle. Marcus can just shoot over our units. I'm gonna make sure that he's got some kind of shot here.
Outriders! Shoot them! Yes, sir. Blades ready.
Okay, is Marcus able to actually shoot that guy? Do we see him doing attack animations? He might feel like he just doesn't have a clean shot, in which case he won't do anything.
Company! In my sights.
Yeah, alright, let's run him back up here. Maybe we can get him to shoot at some other stuff. This is looking pretty good for us, though.
Yes, sir. Quickly! Sigma calls!
Hey guys,
Finding range.
let's all turn around and defend the war wagon. Got some skinks in our back line. Honestly, the archers can probably hold him for the moment.
En route.
I'm gonna run him all the way out here. I think we're in a position where we can reasonably attack that skink chief without being really in any danger.
Attack!
Okay, some of their units are fleeing through my line, which is the thing we gotta be wary of.
Which target, General?
And honestly, I don't know if there's not a lot of enemies that I feel safe shooting the mortar at right now. Should probably have Marcus move just so that none of these mortar shots accidentally land on him. Ooh, wow, that was a really good hit. Some fine work from our mortars on that one. Man, that is a pretty good ability. Okay, that went off pretty cleanly, actually. The skinks getting around and attacking the mortar wagons is not ideal. But we didn't actually lose anybody. Didn't take any meaningful damage. The fact that we basically have armored mortars is pretty cool. Siege weapon crews tend to be extremely vulnerable to flanking attacks. It's often the case that even with a unit as weak as a bunch of skinks, if they get into your artillery crews, it's a bloodbath. So it's nice that we have one that has some reasonable armor and is likely to survive a couple seconds of flanking. As you may have noticed, I don't always react to things as quickly as I could. There's a lot going on in a Total War Warhammer battle. But that was pretty crushing. So we shouldn't... I don't think we'll have the movement range necessary to attack that other army now while they're split up and undefended. But we can move forward a little bit toward the border. Maybe go into ambush mode and see if they decide to move toward our capital. Got okay loot. I mean, it's fine.
Bring out the nooses.
And yeah, I mean, we're always gonna execute captives because the replenishment penalty for doing the other thing is just too great. Okay, we found some armor. Gives a passive reduction in enemy melee attack to all nearby enemies. I kind of think we might want to swap Marcus's armor. Like, the Armor of Fortune is definitely broadly better, but Marcus isn't going to spend all that much time getting meleeed. So the actual defensive properties of his armor probably don't matter as much as him having an annoying aura. If we were to move forward, these guys would get reinforcements. Because this army is in march mode, their reinforcements will show up pretty tired. You know what? Let's push. Let's push on them here. I think we stand to win this in a really big way. So the way battles with reinforcements work is they'll set up this army, and then this army will come in from one of the edges of the map, sort of piece by piece over the first minute or so of the battle. which means they'll have to approach through the probably about as much land as possible through our constant rain of arrows. I have a lot of hope here. I think it's pretty likely they're not going to get a lot of skinks actually to our line. Our poor melee troops got just absolutely butchered by the terrible inferior enemies on that last one. The trees are a problem, especially for the mortar. Obviously, you want the mortars to have a nice open path of fire. How about that? Does that angle... That angle kind of works. You'd like them to be a little bit more tilted. There we go. And then I guess we want to just set people up mostly in this flat area. Again, we want to give ourselves the most open line of sight possible. We'll see if the enemy is smart enough to try to move through the trees. If they are, we can always just sort of tilt our formation here. We can set units up in the trees to have them be hidden, which means the enemy doesn't know they're there until they get within a certain distance. And I think in this case we're going to set up our melee troops behind, just because we actually can't put them in front where we would like to. Alright, and then over here we have the 2 units of war wagons. Usually it is the case that large units like this cannot be hidden. And we're going to have the war wagons just kind of run forward at the beginning of battle here, so we may as well place them forward. And let's get one of these off on their lord as quickly as possible. As damaged as he is, I think there's a pretty good chance that's going to instantly kill him. Let's have the mortars target these guys. Pretty good start to the battle, if I may say so myself. Let's have Marcus focus on that dude. Oh, they're falling back. They're trying to run back to their reinforcements. Let's not let them do it for free. Okay, it was a little bit of a fake out. These mortar shots could be devastating. Yep, that's pretty good. And Marcus really, it takes a while for him to draw that bow back, I guess. Well, he only has to hit like 1 or 2 more times, though, it looks like. Yep, this is going pretty poorly for them right off the bat. So we're effectively getting to fight one of the armies, and then after the completion of that battle, we get to fight the other one. That is often the case with reinforcement battles if you aren't pretty careful about how you set up. I think Marcus can fall back here. Yeah, these war wagons are great. I am really enjoying these. Let's put these things into guard mode. And actually, I'm gonna turn off fire at will. Let's have them not shoot anymore. Wait until the enemies actually get in range. And it turns out the enemy melee units aren't actually moving forward. We can have Marcus come up a little bit. Try to snipe the Lord out of this army a little bit as well. Alright. That would be a really good spot, I think, for the mortars to aim. Wow, they almost all of those mortar shots completely missed. That's embarrassing. See, that right there is why you want to aim for the fattest part of the enemy formation. Your units don't actually have to hit anything to do, or they don't have to actually hit the thing you're aiming for to do damage that way. Alright, we're just going to grab all of the melee units and have them run up through here. And I think wagons... Let's run the wagons out this way. I'm going to leave the mortars right where they are. We'll just have these two units step up a little bit more. Make sure they're in front of things. Okay. That should be sufficient. And now it's just a matter of raining an awful lot of arrows down on people. Alright, I forgot the huntsmen were over here. Or the Free Company were over here. I don't really want them breaking the enemy charge with their faces. For reasons that hopefully are pretty obvious.
No lingering. Sigma calls. No lingering.
Alright, well, the skinks are getting to our lines in better shape than I was hoping. Obviously, it'd be pretty cool if they were just absolutely torn to shreds by the time they got here. Let's start firing the mortar over this way. That's a little bit dangerous. We do have troops over here, but I think we really have to thin this group out.
Ready for war. Yes, General. Taking aim. Take aim.
Okay, the good news is skinks are not particularly brave. As the ranged fire falls on them, you can see the whole army wavering at the same time. When units panic, they reduce the leadership of other nearby units. So sometimes you'll see like the thing that happened there where one unit gave up and it just sort of caused a cascade of leadership drops across them.
Get them. Get them. Free Company.
Okay. Their lord is the only one who's still really fighting. It looks like he's about to break as well. I dare say we've got this. I'm gonna let their... Hold on, let's have these units back off. Before we end the battle, I want to spend our last sniper shot on this guy. Just make sure he has as little health as possible after this. Oh, you know what? Actually, never mind. His army's in march mode, isn't it? Forces that are in march mode are too tired to flee at the end of battle, so they're just completely wiped off the map. Which means that it is probably the case that this Lizardman faction has no military units at all anymore. Which obviously is pretty good for us, because it means that we get to go and take ourselves a new settlement. And it'll be good to get rid of these guys before we get into a war with the orcs, because that way we only have to worry about enemies attacking us from one side at a time. Being at war with a lot of different enemy forces can put you in a real harsh place really quickly. Look at this, our units are actually racking up experience remarkably fast. We have rank 4 already on the 2 reinforcements. We're starting to get levels on everybody else. I'm pretty pleased with the way this is going. It turns out, if you actually win your first couple of battles, it really sets you up well for the rest of the campaign.
Mission accomplished. Respect is earned.
And we have gained a trait here.
Bugs.
Marcus Wolfhart is a plan buster. So there's a bunch of traits in the game that you can earn by doing specific things. Our whole army gets +3 leadership when fighting against Lizardmen. Also, we've had one of those unique hunters appear. And we found ourselves an Ogre Blade. Weapon strength refers to your melee weapon, so this is a pretty bad weapon for Marcus. Our hostility has increased, which does reduce the timer here, but still that's quite a long time. And Kalara joins the expedition. Your activities in Lustria gained more than just the attention of angry locals. One day, as the expedition marched through the jungle following another successful offensive, you were suddenly threatened by a hooded figure standing in the trees above the jungle trail. After you introduced yourself as the Hunts Marshal, the Emperor's chief scout, she descended and revealed herself to be a former waystalker of Athaloran, a wood elf huntress named Kalara. Around her neck hung a Bastillodon tooth, and it was clear from her appearance that she was a weathered warrior of the jungle. Kalara asked if you might help her track one particular beast she had been pursuing in Lustria. Not being one to turn down a hunt, you agreed, but only in return for lending her skills to your expedition. Let's have a look at what her skills actually are. Okay, we'll worry about this quest later.
Proud daughter of Atholong.
Alright, so of course she is a strider, which means she's not slowed down by adverse terrain conditions. If the ground is marshy or heavily wooded, a lot of units will move slower through it in battle. Not so for the strider. And she cannot actually be killed. When normally killed in action, she will just be wounded instead, which means she'll be unavailable for like 5 turns, and then she'll respawn. And she just has a bunch of skills. I mean, we'll worry a little bit more about her skills when she levels up. This is great, though. 15% reduction in reload time for the entire army, only during forest battles. I wonder what that actually means. Because there are very few maps that don't have any trees on them at all. Is a map with trees a forest battle, or do they have to be like a certain percentage? I don't know. Well, maybe I'll try to look that up. Okay, but she seems just sort of generally useful. It's good to have more characters. And let's keep taking points in Pistol Corps here. We're not really running out of ammunition in these early battles, but as we go up against more and more difficult enemies, it'll start to become a problem. So let's have a look at her hunter page. Our next objective is to get her to level 5, and we will receive a unique weapon for her. Oh wow, a very impressive unique weapon, actually. She supports the parent army, increasing its movement range and protecting against ambushes. Increasing the movement range of an army, very, very powerful. And of course, she's real good at shooting people. And in the final battle, she removes the Shield of the Old Ones ability. Okay, so the more of these characters we earn, the easier that big final battle's going to be.
At your service.
So when you have a hero, you can run them around the map as an agent, and they have certain actions they could do, like we could run her over to the settlement here and have her damage the garrison, potentially. Or you can put them into an army as a very powerful single-character unit, much like your lord. I think we're going to do a little bit of both with her. Let's start off by attacking this garrison, seeing if we can't put some damage on them as we approach.
How can I assist you?
And because we successfully carried out a hero action, we get the quest reward here, and also a considerable amount of experience on the hero themselves. So how much damage did she do? Hard to tell. We actually can't see the health of the enemy units here. The garrison has 4 units of Saurus in it, which is a little bit of a bummer. I mean, I guess there's not much for it except to run toward them, right? So next turn, she'll merge into the army, and then we'll attack.
Orders.
And what are we going to do with your first level up? She can gain this Arrow of Kernus, which looks like it's probably a smaller version of the action that our current hero has, or our current lord. She can just gain some melee skill, which seems fine. So yeah, this is her range tree, and the other one is her melee tree. Some pretty good skills here. Eventually she can learn, ooh wow, the ability to root an enemy unit in place and lower their missile resistance. That seems really powerful, especially given the composition of our army. She could also learn the Eye of Kernus, a buff for all allies within 30 meters, increasing their missile damage by 10%. That's also really good. She seems really good. I think let's take this. Let's take the big buff to all of our units. We're going to go back and get all this stuff eventually, though.
The scouts shall never fall.
I didn't realize that Very Hostile was only the 2nd level on the hostility meter. This is actually a really good time for her to show up, too. So I think we're going to be able to wipe these guys out without a problem. I'm a little worried about the fact that we can see the orcs building up right there on our border. And we are, again, completely surrounded by enemies. And there's hostility in every direction. So the fact that we are probably going to be able to put this faction away does not give me a feeling of security. Alright, you can see here they've spawned a new lord. They're going to try to recruit an army as quickly as they can. They also have a hero, but because this hero is not part of an army, he doesn't get to participate in battle.
Lady of the Glade, at your
Just have you fall back and join up.
Marcus Wolfhart.
And while she's in the army, she's giving them a constant experience boost, everyone in the army.
Dedicated. Fell the cretins.
Alright, you can see here, this city has it has defenses, actually. Hold on, let's
Hunt them down.
press this. You can tell that a city has proper walls if it has these little crenellations on the name tag. Because the city has walls, we can only attack it if we build up some siege gear.
Engage targets.
Or if we have a unit in our army that has the siege attacker trait. So because we have a mortar, we could just mortar their gates to death. We don't have to build up siege equipment. If we do stop to build up siege equipment, like create some battering rams or some siege towers that we can use to just climb the walls, that gives them time to build up more units or to potentially call in other Lizardman players nearby to defend them. So I'm inclined to just go after it here. Siege battles can be tricky. We might actually want to construct some battering rams.
Fight
Now, you know what?
clout,
Let's just go for it. I don't want to give them any time to respond to our attack here. We're just going to come out of the jungle, blitzkrieg them, and hopefully have this done before they have the chance to call any of the other Lizardmen to protect them. So you can see here, anywhere where there's a little outcropping on the wall here marks the location of a tower. We have to be very wary of the fire from these towers. They can do a lot of damage to approaching units. I'm starting to wonder if maybe we overcommitted a little bit here. Because we can just climb the walls and fight them on the walls, but they have Sauruses, which are pretty dangerous units. And they get to set up second. So we had to put our troops down, and then they get to man the walls wherever it is relevant to defend against us. So what we really need is to put the war wagon in a position where it can fire easily at one of the gates. We just need to break one of the gates open, and then I don't know what. I don't really have a strong plan here. We're gonna figure it out though. All right, where's the which one's the mortar? So the towers can fire. Unfortunately, before the battle, you can't see the range of the towers. Once the battle actually starts, we can mouse over and you can see. They can fire all the way to the back wall of the map, and also at a distance they have overlapping lanes of fire. So we got to be pretty careful with how we position our mortars here. I'm going to put them right here. Hopefully they'll only be in range of one tower at the beginning of the battle, and then we'll press forward and hopefully get them out of range entirely. And we're going to stack up the rest of our troops basically just in this area. We'll approach the walls quickly, and we'll figure it out from there. Oh, we do have some Vanguard deployment. I guess we can have some of these units be a little further forward.
Sparta's the target.
Okay, so everybody except the mortar wagon just like charge the gates pretty much. We'll figure it out, like I said, once we're up there. Mortar needs to get to work on the gatehouse. So you can see the firing area of the tower is extremely large. Outside of the towers, they have very limited ranged attacks. So if we can just get close enough, you can see there's kind of a dead zone in here where we're going to try to put a lot of our units, and while we wait for the mortars to do their thing. Fortunately, as the mortars attack the gates, they're also going to do a lot of explosive damage to everything else that is standing near the gates, or standing on top of the gates.
For Heldenhammer.
Okay, you know what? You don't need to be... I don't think it helps you to be that close. If anything, it's putting you in danger. tower can still shoot at some of these guys. Let's try to tighten up a little bit here. We're doing some damage to the gate. We're getting there. I'm not 100% sure we're going to get through it. I'm looking at the amount of damage we've done versus the amount of ammo that's left in that mortar. I'm wondering if we might find ourselves unable to actually break this gate. We can wear down the sources a little bit, but obviously the wall gives them some cover. We're not doing a ton of damage for the amount of ammo we're spending. %? Yeah, I'm starting to have some concerns for sure. Well, one thing we can do is we can break some units off and try to take up positions on the wall over here. They just have skinks up on this side of the wall. That might be actually a good idea. Why don't we take the spears, run them up here, and also a couple units of archers. This is just plan B in case this gate thing doesn't work out. We should be firing more specifically at the units on top of the gate and hoping to get enough damage from the splash. Apparently, the game feels that victory is in our grasp. I'm not 100% sure that I agree with that assessment. And we are getting to rain an awful lot of arrows and stuff on enemies who are not well situated to defend against them. But yeah, we are considerably under half ammo on the mortar. And they are running sources up, fresh sources up onto the wall to defend against our ladder push. We maybe should have stopped and built a battering ram. I just didn't want to give up the advantage of speed. Alright, mostly what we need you guys to do is just form up and keep people off of the archers. We are doing some decent damage, at least. I'm going to send our heroes over here, up onto the wall as well. Alright, and this is working pretty much like we wanted it to. We just get some archers up on the wall and start doing some work. It's always kind of finicky trying to get units to actually use ladders. I mean, we're actually doing pretty good damage, all things considered. Part of that is that they've put the skinks in places where they're easy to shoot a lot. The Saurus units are still mostly looking pretty healthy. And yeah, we're running out of ammunition. And the mortar explosions have definitely done some meaningful damage. Where are my huntsmen? Let's get the huntsmen up here on the walls as well. Let me look at her stats. Is she really good at melee combat? Actually, she is remarkably good at melee combat. Put her into melee mode. She can lead battle from the front here, while Marcus continues to do things the way Marcus does things. In fact, it would be really great if he could start working on this this red-crested skink chief. We don't need this guy to be alive. It would be much better for us if he was not.
Ready to fire! Climbing the wall, sir!
This might be one of those things where we can use volume of fire to just sort of overwhelm the weaknesses of our strategy. Marcus has not actually used the ability we told him to use, because he can't figure out how to get the shot from the wall.
Spearmen! Understood! Get them! Take aim!
Stuff like this is always a little tricky. On the wall, your units don't always understand how to operate on a wall.
Shoot!
But yeah, we have such a numbers advantage here. You know what? I think we're going to be fine. War wagons are basically just chariots now. I mean, we can have the war wagons just ram the gate a bunch. I don't know that it matters too much whether we continue this fight on the wall or down on the ground. They do have a half of a unit of sources ready to go here, but as soon as those gates open, we're going to be able to shoot them with our guns and stuff. Let's make sure that we're ready for the moment.
Swordsmen! Ready for war! To
Make sure our melee troops are also ready, but just behind the ranged, because I want to have a nice unobstructed field of fire when the gates break open.
show us the foe!
Highborn! Asray warrior!
Kill them all!
Ellie Kalara forgot that I told her to go stab people. She's working on it. There's actually a lot of our guys in her way.
Marcus Wolfhard!
Okay. Finish the gate. It is open. Let's call the chariot back. I want them to have to... This is more so that we can shoot in than so that we can engage in any kind of melee nonsense. Although it looks like they actually just pulled people back away so that we wouldn't be able to shoot them through. And most of our troops are too fascinated by the enemies up on top of the wall. But she really did just like wade into all of those sources, and she's taking basically no damage.
Ready for war!
She's an impressive combatant.
Understood!
Her stats are remarkable. Even for, like... Even if she was a melee hero, those would be good melee stats. Alright, so we got a bunch of the sources pressed together. Our troops, thanks to being bow and arrow troops rather than gun troops, are mostly able to fire over our own guys. So I have pretty high hopes that we're just going to win this thing on the wall. This might actually be a good time to initiate movement beyond the wall. I'm going to have Marcus get down off the wall here. And we're going to start working on that skink chief.
Targeting! Very well!
This time you will actually use this ability.
Lady of the Asray!
Well, that didn't do as much damage as I was hoping it would. Why don't you get back up on the wall, buddy? Just run back up there. I'm curious if their guy is going to follow us, because he's been reluctant to get on the wall so far. Okay. The elf is all of a sudden taking lots of damage. I wonder if maybe like the sources were just like ignoring her before or something. I don't know why she would take no damage at all for such a long time and then all of a sudden take so much so quickly.
Agree! Outriders! No lingering!
Alright, I think the time has come.
Go!
Need to get through the gate. The mortar cart is also... I mean, it's still a chariot, right? Let's just have it commit here. The red... Man, we are maybe underestimating this red-crested skink chief a little bit.
What's the target? Marcus Wolfhard!
Swiftly!
Sir! Ready!
Let's have some people get down off the wall. Try to take control of the inside.
Swordsman! Yes, sir! Quickly!
So there's this control point in the middle of the city. If we hold the control point, it demoralizes the defenders. They start to feel that they are not in control of their home. They can only fight for so long
Yes, sir!
in that state. So we are hopefully going to be able to just push this. They ran everything up to defend the wall, which is a big tactical error. Hopefully we'll be able to just take this over quickly. Oh boy, they're really bringing the dudes down to defend against this move now that they see it, though.
To battle! We are ready!
Alright, get ready to defend the counter push.
End them!
So you guys still have some ammunition left. If we set up along the wall like this, we can fire down at them as they attack our units. Yeah, you can see control of the capture point is being rapidly ceded.
For Heldenhammer!
Our cowardly units managed to make it all the way back outside the wall. Where's their chief? There he is.
Destroy!
Make sure Marcus is on the hunt here. So everyone except for Marcus can just try to work those sources.
Protector of the forest.
Okay, she survived. She only almost died. Definitely get out of melee mode. Yeah, red-crested skink chiefs turns out actually pretty good fighters. Alright, we don't have a ton of healthy melee troops anymore.
Go! Ready! Go!
Somebody's got to stand in front here and take the charge.
Take aim! Yes, General!
But I think they are basically done for.
Bowstrings taut!
They're gonna have a hard time actually getting into combat with our vulnerable units at this point. Let's see if we can get Marcus to snipe that hero. He's low enough on health that this shot will probably do a ton of damage. It'll be unlikely to kill him, but it'll make him killable. Alright, we got a permanent break on one of their units. They do not have very much strength left. And yeah, that permanent break plus the ranged fire lowers this guy's leadership. That's going to cascade a little bit. I think they're trying to come around to the bridge, like they think we're more vulnerable from this angle.
Marcus Wolfhard!
Don't really think I agree with their assessment.
Ready ammunition!
Actually, I have no idea what they're doing. I think the the AI might just have broken. Here, we can probably fast forward a little bit here. Everybody get in the middle. So you can see they are rapidly losing victory points. When they completely run out of victory points, which basically just means that we've been in control of their city center for a long time, their units will suffer a serious morale drop. Marcus can't get a clean shot because there's too many of our guys in the way. I can't even tell if he attacked there. And it spent a charge of the ability and it went on cooldown, so I guess he probably did.
Outriders! To battle!
I'm gonna try some quick flanks with the war wagons here.
Speed! Missile infantry!
And archers, anybody who has any ammo left. Okay. They hit 0 control points and their units immediately surrendered. That was probably not a battle we should have gone for, and maybe not a battle we should have won. We definitely suffered some hits here, but nobody died. Honestly, we only lost 190 men total. That's not bad. And we managed to get some good experience on a bunch of our ranged units here. XP rank 7 already on the mortar. That's kind of insane considering that it only got 22 kills. I wonder if there's something up with the XP formula. This is just much faster than I'm used to seeing units level up. Maybe that's a thing with the Imperial supply units. They just level up quickly. And we got XP on our characters, although I did almost get our Wood Elf killed. She was doing really well against those sources, right up until the moment when she all of a sudden wasn't anymore.
We are vanquished.
Alright, so this will do away with
Transition complete.
our first major enemy. And we get ourselves a new a new major settlement. We got another hostility increase, so that is really speeding up the Imperial supplies. But now enemies have 5 extra leadership. We have a big public order penalty. We got to figure out our public order. It's looking bad right now. We're at 47, minus 47 and falling. We're probably going to have to send our army home, actually, to deal with the rebellion that we probably will not be able to avoid at this point. And let's just take the other point of Pistol Corps, right? Even more missile damage. Who needs melee troops? How's she doing on her level? Okay, so she's almost got another one. What was the other thing he had access to? Hold the line. Gives 5 melee defense and 4 leadership. Okay, that's an alright area buff. We probably do need to focus on getting some better recruitment buildings, though, in the near future. In 4 turns, we'll have enough population to upgrade this to a coastal town, and then we can upgrade this thing and get a hold of, first of all, the ability to hire more huntsmen. Seems very important. And secondly, great swords. Armor piercing, heavily armored, specifically good against infantry, very, very powerful against orcs. So we're going to be fighting an awful lot of orcs in the near future here. How many turns are we? Okay, next turn, Chotek will be expanded, and we can build that pasture building, which will help us get to the population necessary for all this other stuff. Lord Mazdamundi of Hexawaddle has formally declared war on us. I don't think this matters very much. He's pretty far away. There's lots of people between him and us. Mostly he's just mad that we're killing Lizardmen. We're going to have to deal with him. Make no mistake about that. But it doesn't have to be right this second. We've given zero thought to actually defending the New World colonies. We should probably start looking at that before we get involved with these orcs. We're not really, after doing all this, we're not really all that far away from the northern spine of Sotek. It might be worth having the Wood Elf run out of the army and just go and try to wake up the other hunters.
Anything is possible.
Okay, mission issued, recruit a lord. No one man can stand against so many hunts, Marshal. Recruit more commanders to lead our armies against these threats. Pretty harsh words from Barry Drury there about the rest of our army. Can you believe it's just one man doing all this work?
The rumors say that this one is
Alright, let's get her some... we could upgrade her training, which is the skill that is giving XP to all of our units constantly. Early on, really leveling up training can have a big effect. You get your units to max level a lot faster. But I think we're going to take Arrow of Kurnus first. We need to upgrade her combat capabilities just a little bit more. And I think this is maybe a good place to call it for now. We're 15 turns away from our next supply drop. It'll come even faster if we just keep murdering everybody we meet. If we want to complete this this province, we're going to have to fight these orcs pretty quickly. Out of curiosity, if we pull up the diplomacy screen and navigate to the orcs, it'll tell us they have 4 settlements. So even if we take this stuff, we're still going to have to worry about reprisals from them until we can push... Okay, it looks like northwest to finish them off. Yeah, I don't know. That war is going to take a while to execute. We might want to do some other things first. But that is going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time, tomorrow, to see what Marcus Wolfhart's next plan is. And we'll see you then.